Hello, YouTube. We are back with our final dungeon guide. This time it is the 16th hall. Now, normally I would be doing this on the legendary server as just to better showcase it a bit with group makeup and stuff like that. But I have tried, and tried again to get a group going, and it hasn't worked out. Either the group isn't able to complete it, or I just can't find people to do it, whatever the case may be. So just to showcase it and at least talk about it, if you've noticed, I've got a lot of morale and I'm 150, so I'm not on the legendary servers, I'm on the normal servers. But we can still talk about it, and I can still break down the fights. So when you enter this room, there'll be a whole bunch of enemies. You got to kill all of them first without pulling the boss and these two dudes up on this little platform here. When you pull the boss, these two ads automatically activate. And essentially what they do is they summon totems and they do these heals on the boss. So the idea that the idea here is that you have to kill the ads while the tank kind of just focuses on the boss and kites him around the room, because as you can see, the boss starts leaving these puddles on the ground. The tank will be stunned, so the tank should be prepared for that. A yellow LM makes a big difference here. Otherwise, just make sure that you're healing. So after we kill these ads, so I'm just gonna blow up these ads here quickly. You also want to kill these totems to make it easier for the tank to kite around the room if they need. So yeah, once the ads are dead, you can focus on the boss and you don't have to worry about him being healed. I think he's supposed to do a cast at some point. See if I can trigger him to do it. There will be a lot of diseases and dots and stuff on whoever the tank targets, so keep that in mind. Does he not want to do... Oh yeah, there's the fear, and so 600 damage every 4 seconds. That's going to be a lot of damage at level 60. So you're going to want to remove that. Maybe he doesn't do a cast. Maybe it's the next one I'm thinking of. So yeah, all right. So that's this boss, and then you can loot and continue on. That boss isn't too bad. He's pretty easy. So yeah, now I will cut over to the next boss. We are at the second boss, but in order to actually open up the room to the second boss, you actually have to go to these two rooms on the left and right and turn these wheels. So we're just going to do that quickly, but we can we'll discuss the boss as we do that. This boss is a bit of this one's a bit trickier in that it's really easy to wipe on this fight, just because of the simple mechanic of the exploding mushrooms. But aside from that, there's nothing too challenging about the boss, and there's a really easy way to avoid the exploding mushrooms. But all the rest of the boss does is classic dots, casts, stuff like that. And then there'll be ads that spawn, and you want to kill them before they kind of reach the group. However, they have very little health. You can any range class can easily deal with them. Hunter, Runekeeper, Lore Master, etc. So now that we've turned those two wheels, this boss room is now open. And so these are the mushrooms I'm talking about, that these explode. However, I think there's two spots that you can stand. There's one, I think you can stand here, And then I think there's kind of a safe spot like right here for the group. But the easiest spot actually is to just move over to the back of the room. You may have to pull the boss and just run here, which is fine. Like the tank just goes in, pulls the boss. The tank stands about here, kind of like in the underneath. You won't be able to see, which is super fun. You stand underneath these vines by these weird mushroom thingies. Stand in here, hugging the wall. If the tank is facing this way, hugging the wall to the left to avoid this mushroom right here, because there's a mushroom right here. And what happens is they grow and they explode, and that's what's going to kill the group most of the time. So if you stand kind of in here, and then the rest of the group just stands kind of here, avoiding this mushroom, and then melee can be like right here. This is probably the easiest and safest spot to stand, and then when mushrooms grow and explode, you don't have to avoid them. So yeah, we'll pull the boss now. We'll take him over to the safe spot. So kind of finagle him around a bit. He likes to bully you and push you around. There's a cast that you need to interrupt. He's just going to throw stuff on the ground. There's another cast that you got to interrupt. It's going to heal him. So you want to stop that. Gonna try to see if we can get ads to spawn. That was a mushroom exploding. Yeah. So there's an ad. See, so they only have, I'm running around just to show it easier so that, because if they touch me, they explode. So they only have 260 health. That's super easy, right? Like that's Lore Master's Wizard's Fire. That's Runekeeper's, Scribe Spark or whatever. That's Minstrel's War Cry. Any Ballad. Like, they're super easy to kill. Hunter Quick Shot, dead. I actually even think, like, Champion and Guardian bow skills can kill that. But when they touch you... Come on. Are you not going to explode into... Well, they're supposed to turn into crawlers. But apparently that one didn't. But anyways, that's why you kill them. Because... they reach you, and then they explode, and then they turn into crawlers, and then they're just more annoying to deal with. But anyways, that's the entire fight. Stand in this spot. Don't get hit by the exploding mushrooms, and deal with the ads. All right, on to the third boss. Righty, we're at the third boss room. In order to reach this room, you have to kill the mini Gorbog queens. There's one here, and then I think there's 3 up on this higher, 2 or 3 up on this higher level that you start at, and then there's like, I don't know, maybe 3 more or 4 more in this green spa. And then you just come down here. This door will then be open once all the queens are dead, and you can enter the final boss room. So the challenge for this fight is once again not to kill extra ads. That's a reoccurring thing in these Moria dungeons. So in this one, don't kill ads. There's going to be these little bugs that spawn, and you don't want to kill them. So the best way to deal with them, bring a second healer or an off healer type, or someone that just can heal another person. So captains, minstrels have like a main healer and a captain, a main healer and a minstrel, a main healer and a runekeeper. Wardens can do this really well with conviction. However, because of how they're reworked, I don't know if conviction will be as strong as it used to be, so it might be a little bit more of a challenge. But the idea is that this off healer kind of grabs aggro of all the little ads, and they run around in circles. And then everyone else focuses the boss, and the main healer just focuses on healing everybody else. Where the off healer, so to speak, heals themselves to keep the focus on them. So you can do this without an off healer. It is possible. It just requires the healer player to be better geared, more of a more experienced healer, right? They're just going to have the added pressure of having all these little bugs run around with them, and constantly they're going to be constantly hitting them and taking damage, and in some cases even interrupting their heals. So they have to be aware of that. The other way to avoid the extra healer is to have the tank all of the ads and the boss. So captains are really good at this. Guardians are fine at this as well. However, when that happens, because the ads are then next to the little boss, or when the little ads are next to the main boss, that removes the whole you can't AoE thing, right? Because the idea is if the support healer or healer in general is running around the room in the back, everyone can just use all of their abilities on the boss. It doesn't matter what. So if you have your lore masters, you have your champions, you have your fire RKs, stuff like that. If the tank is tanking everything around the boss, then this fight just becomes longer because a lot of those classes now can't use majority of their abilities. So the idea, this is obviously easier with more people. But yeah, so all of these ads will spawn. So the healer or off healer would run around the room. They're going to run around the room with all of these little ads chasing them, right? So they're slow. You can see that they're slow. So you can, run around, do some damage, do some healing. Boss will do some crazy abilities that need to be interrupted. Absolutely need to be interrupted. Things could get really bad. As well as what happens is there's these mushrooms. So what you want is the ranged classes that are in the group to destroy the mushrooms so that there's more room to kite and move around. A lot of people, as the tank, will like standing in the middle of the room, kind of right here, because there can be 4 mushrooms that spawn. So it's easy for the tank to move from side to side and be in a spot where the boss isn't going to hit the other players in the group. So range will kind of stand out the outside. When you're in this poison, you're just slowed. It doesn't do a whole lot of damage. I think it does have a bit of a ticking damage effect, but the main thing that it does is the slow. And you want to kill it so that the person that's healing, right, can kite these little dudes around easier. Because when they can move around, they can heal better and just keep the group alive. So that's this entire fight. This one is really annoying, and it is one of the few dungeons that actually focuses on a specific group makeup. And the specific group makeup makes this fight just a million times easier. Because if you have the tank on the boss, you have your main healer healing the tank, then you have your 3 DPS, that gives you 1 extra player to kind of to be the off healer. So the captain, right, a blue captain or just even a red captain can do it too, technically. They're running around making sure that the bugs are on them. A warden is doing this with conviction, right, because conviction takes threat off of all party members and puts it on them, so that and they're a warden, so they can even run around in circles and still do damage really easily. You can do this with just a runekeeper. Minstrels have good mobility as well. when it comes to healing. Like, obviously they have to plant for some heals, but they still have some healing that they can do while on the move. Runekeeper can as well. But yeah, so that's the fight. Keep the boss interrupted. Kill the mushrooms as they pop up. Do not leave them because they will fill up the entire room and then no one can move. So definitely kill them as they pop up. And don't kill these little dudes. Luckily, what's nice is because they're slower, the main boss is a lot faster. So if there is some kiting scenarios that you can do, you can still kind of keep the boss away from the ads and do decent damage. But yeah, once the boss dies, you've completed challenge. And at this point, you're like, wait, the bugs are still here. I'm still in combat. They don't despawn. Well, as you can see, there's now 2 chests. When there's 2 chests, challenge 1 is completed. I also got the completed challenge pop-up, so it is now safe to kill the bugs that you've been kiting for what feels like hours. And then you can loot the rooms. Do we get any cool loot? Not really. I mean, the battle scarred helmet's okay, but it's not the best. So yeah, that is this dungeon, and that concludes all of our Moria dungeons. So hopefully you found these helpful. I will do these videos once again when Mirkwood comes up, and I will do all the Mirkwood dungeons, and I will keep making these videos. Next on the list is a kind of an all-purpose guide when it comes to certain settings in the game that the game doesn't teach you about that can make fights a lot easier and makes playing your class easier and you're more efficient at it, as well as then slowly putting together more class guides. So yes, thank you for watching. As always, I appreciate the support, and I will have that Moria movie story at the end of this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.